Hey everybody, how you doing today? I'm in the kitchen today and I'm going to make another dressing video. I'm going to make cornbread dressing, but I am going to make one of the variations that I have made before. This one I will put one egg in. I have made it a lot of different ways, guys. I just don't care for it with the egg in it. Just add something to it that I don't really like. Everybody's thinking the dressing will be dry and this. It's not. And that's just the way my family liked the dressing. That's the way they made it at my school, and that's the way I liked it. But anyway, I'm going to make it this way. And if you've got some stale light bread that you want to crumble up and put in with it, just a little. My mom used to roll it in her hands like this. And it would just crumbleize it, you know. She'd take 5 or 6 pieces. She wouldn't put a lot in it. But I've made it all different ways. I have made it lots of different ways. The first video, people just got on there and just yak, 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 yak. Please don't do that. If you don't do it the way I'm showing you, then that's fine. But please don't get on there and ask me why I don't have this or why I don't have that. This is my recipe. This is what I do. The only thing I'm going to do this time is I'm going to add the 1 egg. And I have put butter in it before. I like to put a little butter in it if I think about it. If I don't think about it, that's fine too. But most of the time, if I were cooking a turkey, which I'm not, I'm going to show you a way you can make it if you want to make it ahead of time, and you don't want to wait till the day of Thanksgiving if you want to make it a day or two before, so that you're not having to cook so much on that day. I use chicken thighs, and I went the other day and I got a package of boneless chicken thighs, and I cut them up into little pieces, about like this. You can see. That one's 2 or 3 pieces. I just cut it up into small pieces. I like meat in my dressing. If you don't like meat in your dressing, guess what? Leave it out. If there's anything I'm using here that you don't like, leave it out. I mean, folks, I don't know how much plainer to make it. I mean, I tell everybody that almost every time I cook something with a spice in it. If you don't like it, leave it out. If you don't like sage, that's fine. Put whatever you want to in it. This is for the people that want to know how to make a sage cornbread dressing. Okay? Everybody got that? Okay, I'm fixing to put this on, and I'm going to let this cook for about an hour probably. Maybe a little longer. I will time it to let you know. The other day I was using already cooked chicken thighs. Well, today I'm using raw. So that's going to take a little longer because I want them to get good and tender and the meat kind of come apart. I've got 2 small medium onions, I guess, chopped up here, and 4 stalks of celery, as you can see. And I'm going to be using chicken broth with it. I'll probably use some water, but I'm going to use some chicken broth. I want to have a hearty flavor. And I got my cornbread made. I made my cornbread a couple hours ago. I've got it already. And I have some Sally Lunn bread that I made a few days ago. I don't know, I might put a little of that in it. I have done that before. I have put old stale light bread in it. But, you know, I just got to make it at the last 10 or 15 years. I just liked it the way that the school made it. So that's the way I made it. But anyway, for those of you who are wanting to make cornbread dressing, just stay tuned and we will be back. I'm going to put these on in a kettle. I'll show you what I'm doing. Let me turn you down here a little bit. This is the aggravatingest thing that ever was. Okay, I've got my pan right here. I'm going to put my chicken thighs in here. If I can get a hold of my board here. I'll put my chicken thighs in. I've got 4 chicken thighs. 4 will be plenty because I'm not making a big batch. I'm not making a great big batch. It's me and my husband. My kids don't come up here for Thanksgiving. A lot of times they don't even cook. They go out and eat. So that's just the way things are anymore. And I'm putting my onions in. And my celery. Now, you want to get a pretty good sized kettle. I probably should have got a little bigger kettle, but this one will be fine. And you're going to pour your chicken stock in. And if it needs a little water, we'll put a little water, which it looks like it probably will. Let me get my measuring cup here. I'm going to put about another cup of water. I'm trying to remember exactly what I'm doing and the measurements because I'm going to write a recipe for you, okay? I don't have a recipe for this. I've made it so many years that I just know how to make it. So I don't have a recipe written down. But I am going to make a recipe. I think I'm probably going to, let me see how, stir that and see how it looks. I think that'll be all right. If it looks like later on that it's boiled out too much water, I mean, you really don't need that much water unless you're planning on making a big batch of dressing. If you want to add another cup of water, that will be fine. You won't hurt it at all. And I'm going to put a little pepper and salt in this while I cook it, and just to give it a little flavor. It helps it. Not a lot, because I will salt the dressing later on and pepper it. So I will be back when this is finished. I will see you all in a bit. Okay, we're back. I have got the broth done. I put my celery, onions, chicken, and I also put about a teaspoon of chicken bouillon powder in it. And I added 3 tablespoons of butter while it's cooking. Sometimes I add butter, sometimes I don't. It just varies. I probably don't make anything the same twice, to be honest about it, especially dressing. When I was younger, I would always experiment with it. I knew how my mom made it, and even my mom made it different at times. But anyway, so today we're going to make it a little different than what I normally make it, just so that you can try this variation if you think you'd like it better. I am going to put an egg in this, but I'm just going to put 1. I'm not going to put 2, 3, 4. And I did put 3 tablespoons of butter in the broth. And I like to go ahead and put my sage. I put about a half a teaspoon of sage in the water while it's cooking, because it brings out that flavor a lot more. It intensifies it. So when you put it in the dressing, you can kindly judge if you've got enough or you need a little more. Because once you heat sage up, it does, the taste intensifies. That's why you have to be careful. That's why you'll see people taste a lot. Okay, now I have got 2 spoons here, and I will be tasting. I don't cook without tasting. Sorry about your luck. I need to turn my oven on 375 though. And I'm going to move my broth over here to the counter. Let's see, let's just put it right here. I made some Sally Lunn bread last week, I think it's last week. And I took some of that and broke it into crumbs. It's a little moister than regular bread, but my mom used to she called it light bread. I just think that when your parents pass away, there'll be lots of things come back to your memory that you never thought a lot about what they said and what they did. But my mom, sometimes she would make dressing. She wouldn't put any kind of bread in it like that. And every once in a while, she'd just decide she wanted to put some in it this time. So that's what she did. And that's what I'm saying is, cooks don't always cook everything exactly the same. But anyway, I toasted some, just dried it out some of the Sally Lunn bread, put it in a pan. And I've got my cornbread here. I put me about 6 or 8 pieces here. And I've got my broth here. It's plenty hot too. You have to be careful with it. I did salt it some, but you got to be careful and not over salt something like this, because once you get everything mixed together, that's when you need to taste and see how salty it is. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to crumble up some cornbread. Always save back 1 piece of cornbread when you're doing this in case your stuff is too wet. Or you can add more juice, but you want to make sure it doesn't get too wet and you don't have any cornbread left. So I'm going to scoop my broth over a little bit, and I'm going to get this right here where you can see it. And I'm going to crank you down a little bit. Now, you want to crumble up your cornbread like this. You don't have to get it completely fine. I got a lot of the edge pieces because the kind of the crustier sides around the edge really make good dressing. And Usually I don't put eggs in my dressing. I just don't. It doesn't bother me not to have them. And, you know, somebody said, well, isn't your dressing dry? No, it's not dry. I like it the way I fixed it. But, you know, everybody's different. And if you don't like it, you know, do it your way. I'm just trying to help people that have never made it and that want to make dressing. Now, this is the Sally Lunn bread here. I'm going to try to crumble it up in a little bit smaller pieces because you don't want any real big chunks in there. My mom used to do this. She would put that light bread in her hands and she would do it like that. Of course, she'd set it out and let it dry out, you know, quite a bit. And, but anyway, I think this will be, well, you can't make a bad dressing. I mean, I've eaten lots of different dressings. The only dressing I ever ate that I didn't like is it was soupy. I mean, it's just like eating slop or something. I just don't like that. I mean, if you know what slop is, if you've ever had pigs, raised pigs, you'll know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I don't like real wet, sticky dressing. I just don't like it. The reason I don't like it like that is because I like to make giblet gravy, and I always pour the giblet gravy over my dressing. And if it's wet, you don't want to add something else wet to it. And people in the South cook a lot different. Okay, we got it mixed up there now. I'm going to add some of my juice, and what I do is I take a slotted spoon and I try to get all the celery and onions and things out first. Let me kind of see if I can scoot this over just a tad. And I like meat in my dressing. You don't have to put it in there, but I like it in mine, so I put it in there. So I'm going to get all those little pieces of chicken out today. And the celery and onions. And somebody asked me, said, do you put bell peppers in yours? And I said, no, don't want no bell peppers in my dressing. But if you like it that way, hey, go for it. I'm trying to get all the, it's like I feel like I'm singing for minutes. Trying to fish around through here and get all the good stuff out. No, if you, like I said, now, used to when I cook a big turkey, I would always take the wings and the giblets and things like that and put it in with my celery and onions, and that's how I made my broth to make my dressing with. But since I'm not baking a big turkey right now, this is several days before Thanksgiving, so I'm just trying to show younger people how to make dressing. And if they want to make some, they can. And you can put this in the fridge, and on Thanksgiving Day, instead of having to cook it that day, all you got to do is put your pan on low, or your oven on like 250 or 300, put your dressing back in there, and let it warm up. It's no big deal, really. Okay, I think I got quite a bit of it out there now. Now, let me scoot this back. I'm going to take my, get my little ladle out here. Now, I will stir it up a little bit. But now this is just a little over 1 teaspoon of sage. So all of you all that's saying, oh, that's too much sage. Well, I know what I've got out here. And I know about how we like our sage dressing. But that's why I tell people, taste. Taste, taste, taste. If you don't like it, don't put it in there. It's just like I tell people, if you're going to leave a nasty comment, then just go somewhere else. We don't want to hear it. This little group is not about nasty comments. There's no place for it here. I need a different spoon. That's Too hard to hand. Well, let me get my spoon I've been stirring my broth with. This is my favorite spoon. This is a spoon that my mom got me years ago. Now, I am going to put an egg in it. The only thing this egg is going to do is make it a little fluffier. It does not mean you have to put it in there. If you don't want an egg in it, then don't put it in it, guys. You don't have to. But now you're making it almost impossible to taste of what you fixed because you have put a raw egg in it. Unless you're wise enough to know that that egg probably not going to hurt you anyway. And I can tell there's not enough sage in our dressing. Because my husband likes a lot of sage. He says, I don't like wimpy flavors. Everybody has a different taste about them. And some people like more, and that's okay. It smells good. Smells really good. Now, this is plenty wet. I don't like to get it real wet. Just like I said, I don't like wet dressing. I like the outside to be crunchy, crusty like your cornbread, and the inside to be tender and soft. It's all a matter of how you do it. And this is the way we like it. So I think I might put just a tad bit more, but not much, because I do not. No, that's plenty. Yeah, that's plenty. Now, I know you all going to say, oh, it's got egg in it. Yeah, it does. And there's the spoon I tasted with. And it still doesn't have enough sage. I know my husband will not like that, because he will not. But this is the last bit I'm going to put, because it will intensify a little bit. Every once in a while at school, sometimes we would get dressing that didn't have much sage flavor at all. And then other times we'd have dressing and it would be just perfect with sage and taste so good. And they always gave us gravy to go on top of it. And some of my best memories that I ever had was at Garrett Elementary, where I used to work. Had, good people there to work with, and still got a little piece or two of chicken in here. I don't really like to leave any of that, but I'm going to put this in a 375 degree oven in a 9 by 13 pan, and I'm going to bake it for about 45 minutes to an hour. And you want to grease your pan, guys. Grease your pan, okay? Let me get my pan out here. When you grease your pan too, it gives it that crunchy crust like on the bottom of it, which I really like. And you can cut it in squares, or you can take your spoon and spoon it out. I always cut it in squares. I got used to doing that because of my kids, and that's the way I always had it at school. And that way it keeps people from, if you got people that like to really load up their plates. But anyway, now, I always add a little pepper to my dressing. Let me rinse my hands off, guys. I always got to wash my hands. Seems like I wash my hands so much. But I always put a little pepper in it, so let me get my pepper. Scoot this back. So, pepper doesn't come out very fast here. My mom always put a lot of pepper in hers too. But this will be so delicious, guys. Tasted really good a while ago. I'll probably get all kinds of nasty comments about tasting a raw egg. Read some literature, people, about putting hot liquid in with raw egg. Okay. Okay, let me get you back down here a little bit. Now, if you wanted to put a little pepper on top of it, you could. But, you know, you don't have to. Some people really like pepper. If you all could see how my husband eats pepper, we went to Subway one time to get a sandwich. And Robert asked the waitress, you know, the person making our sandwich, he said, "Could you give me some pepper?" And she said, "Sure." She handed him a couple packs of pepper, and I told her, I said, "You might as well hand him about 20 packs, because his sandwich will be absolutely black with pepper." And that's the way he loves pepper. When he makes a sandwich in here, you can't even tell the bread is white or whatever color his bread is, because he puts so much pepper on it, and he uses a big coarse pepper. So everybody has got their own ideas about things and what they like. Now, see, I would never like that much pepper, but he does. He loves pepper. So my dressing is in here. It's ready to bake at 375 degrees for 45 minutes to an hour. Look at it at about 10-minute intervals. If an hour goes by and it's not, you know, pretty solid in the middle, let it cook 10 more minutes. It'll be fine. Turn it down, turn your oven down to 350 or something, let it cook a little longer. But, and then when it comes out, if you want to make it early, put you some aluminum foil over, put it in the fridge, if you got a place to keep it. Then when it cools down, and then on Thanksgiving Day, take it out about 25 minutes ahead of time, put your oven on about 250, 300, put your dressing in, and it's going to warm it right up. So I'll let you all see a picture of it when it comes out. Hey guys, we are back, and I cooked the dressing for 1 hour on 375, and this is what it looks like. As you can see, and it's got the little crust on top, and it looks wonderful. I would be thrilled to death to have this dressing on Thanksgiving Day. As you can see it right there. And you can put this in the fridge, let it cool, put you some aluminum foil over it, put it in the fridge, and keep it till Thanksgiving Day. Just take it out, pop it in the oven, and warm it up. And if you want to make giblet gravy, the broth that you had left over, shred you a few carrots and put you another bouillon cube, another teaspoon of bouillon, and add just a little water. Let that cook for just a little bit, and put you a little bit of cornstarch in some water, about two teaspoons maybe, or 1 big teaspoon. Pour it in there, eat gently, and you've got giblet gravy, guys. So, you all have a blessed day. I hope you do something good for somebody else today. And if I seem like I've done a lot of chastising on the video, because I'm trying to warn people, please don't do that. I don't want to have to delete you and block you, but I will. So, you know, read the rules. Read the rules of the group before you make comments, guys. And just like I said, just because I don't do it like you means that gives you free reign to say mean, nasty things. I just won't put up with it. So, anyway, you all have a blessed day. Tell somebody about Jesus today. Tell him about Jesus. I was telling somebody today, they said, we were talking about that, and I said, yep, he's not just my Savior, he's my best friend. And I wouldn't know what to do going through a day without him. And I pray that you do, if you don't know him, I pray that you do. But you all have a blessed day. See you all later.